when the angels told me that my gifts would amplify when I came back, they were right. I could see more angels. I could hear telepathically what animals were saying to me. I could pick up a bird that had fallen and heal it, things like that. Like the miracles of Jesus, those were coming back to me. I could do a lot of those things. I couldn't bring back the dead or anything like that, but I could do some hands-on healing and alchemy, things like that. And I remember being at school, we can jump to about 5th grade now. I remember walking through the halls and being conscious that there would be a spirit, and I would make myself not look at that spirit because it would be noticed. And so I'd say, okay, nope, later, I'll talk to you later. Because I just did not want to be the weird kid. I was weird enough. My parents owned a movie theater. You know, I was a nerd anyway. That was hard enough in a small town with both your parents being a teacher. I was a nerd. I didn't want to be more of a nerd. So I folded it in. And there were many years I didn't even remember that I was an angel, because I just chose not to. I just wanted to be a kid who played with G.I. Joes and Barbie dolls and watched the Goonies and stuff. I just became as normal as I could.
Welcome in. I'm so glad you're here today. I have not been this excited for an interview and I can't remember when. So you guys are absolutely going to love it. If you're enjoying this content, make sure you click that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. And if you'd rather listen than watch, you can find us on iTunes and Spotify and all podcast platforms. So check us out there. Just type in Journey to the New Earth and you'll find us there. And then the last thing is if you'd like to keep track of what's going on the planet, but it feels a little overwhelming, and I don't blame you, you might want to sign up for our Friday morning email newsletter. The link is in the description box down below. Every Friday morning, we send out a very short, very hopefully informative email newsletter highlighting what we think is really good information about what's happening on the planet. It's super easy to sign up. It's super free. The link is in the description box down below. I think you're going to love it. Have I told you how much I love Jupiter CBD oil? A few years back, I started waking up with stiff and sore joints. As a matter of fact, I'd have to actually crack my hands to get them working in the morning. I was really concerned because I had seen my mother and grandmother both suffer from debilitating arthritis, particularly in their hands. I went on a journey to find a more natural remedy for my stiff and sore joints and landed on CBD oil. That became a years-long quest to find a good formula that was consistent, that didn't taste horrible. And I'll tell you what, I am almost a consumer expert of CBD oils at this point. Luckily, a few years ago, I found Jupiter CBD oil and I couldn't be more thrilled. What I've experienced is very consistent quality, a very mild taste, and a good effect on my joints. I actually take this every night before bed. Jupiter CBD oil is sustainably sourced from organic ingredients, and the company itself is just wonderful. They have a heart for their products and a heart for their customers. Featuring 4 different formulas, including one for your pets, I take the Dreamland every night before bed. I sleep like a baby. My joints are fluid, pain-free, and very flexible. I really couldn't be happier with my results. Jupiter offers free shipping, free returns, 100% money back guarantee, and I'm telling you, the best customer support system on the planet. I'm not kidding you one little bit. In addition, they now feature gummies and capsules, so make sure that you look over their entire product line when you're on the Jupiter website. I love Jupiter. It's a nice small company, which I really appreciate. Visit getjupiter.com and use the code NEWEARTH for 20% off your entire order. Great sleep, less stress, fewer aches. Jupiter CBD oil. I think you're gonna love it. And with that, I am so excited for this conversation. You guys you're in for a really great ride. I'd like to introduce Rachel Corpus angel incarnate.
Oh, thank you. I have also been looking forward to this conversation today. I just adore your energy, your zest for life.
Oh,
Thank you for
thank you.
having me on your show.
Yeah, and I've got goosebumps. So that's what I'm so
Really?
thrilled about. I want to tell you a little story, Rachel.
Okay.
About 20 years ago, I was talking to one of my woo-woo girlfriends, and I said to her, when I cycle on out of here, I want to be an angel next. And she goes, "Oh, you can't, you know, you're a human spirit. That's different." And I thought, oh, but it never dawned on me that angels can incarnate into human form, and that's apparently what you did. So tell us the story. How did
Yes.
this all start for you? And when did the realization kind of start coming in?
Well, I love that. I love that story. Thank you for sharing it. This started for me 7 lifetimes ago, and this is my seventh incarnation.
In
Okay, I
human
just
form.
in human form. And when you have channelers on your show, you might hear them say something like, when you're recording now, they can already feel what the audience is feeling later. I can already feel that. I can already feel people saying, wait, what? Look, I get that. I get how delightfully bonkers this sounds. I get it, you know, and yet it is. So I have appreciation for people who can just hear it and be open. And I thank you for that. So 7 lifetimes ago, I started to come to Earth as a missionary. Many of you listening to this, you've had your churches or your schools, you've gone on missionary trips. I'm no different. I just came from a different place. Uh, and how do I know that? Well, when we're born into our bodies, we have free will. So whatever happened before, we really don't remember. That's part of the deal. So whatever you signed up to do, you don't remember those pre-life choices, but you do kind of know them because it's the things you're good at, the things you're passionate about. But I was just growing up like a regular kid. I was Catholic. I loved animals. Now, there were some different things about me. I could see spirit. I lived by a cemetery. We had a big Victorian house. My parents had purchased an old opera house they were restoring, so lots of spirit there. It was common for me to talk to people who were dead, play with spirit children. I even had some extraterrestrial visitors that would come and come off their ship and talk to me or even take them with me. Again, I know this sounds bonkers. Hey, it is what it is. But I had those experiences, but it wasn't until my family was in a near fatal car accident when I was about 4 years old and I had a near death experience. In that near death experience, I left my body, I went to the other side, and pretty much I had a meeting with my fellow angels in the seraphim realm. Angelic realm has different, I guess you could call them neighborhoods and different layers. And they reminded me of who I was. So when I went out of my body, I remember hearing an adult voice and realizing, oh, that's me. And I was 4 years old. So one moment I was in my parents' big green car coming home from a movie. And then the next moment, I was out of my body and speaking like a grown up. And they were telling me, yes, you have the option to go back and still be a kid. You'll still be able to play school and do all the things that a little kid can do. But if you decide to go back, as you grow up, you'll have the gifts that you have, aka seeing spirit, etc. And you'll have more. We're going to kind of upgrade those gifts. It's not going to be easy. You're also going to learn how the world works through trauma. You're going to go through the typical things like loss of child, divorce. They laid out some things for me. And the point of that will be being able to understand the human condition so you can guide them through it. And the funny thing is, when you're out of your body, those things don't seem so bad. As I guess I agreed to it because I'm here. And it was that near death experience, it was that meeting that helped me remember who and what I am. And I don't really recall making an active choice to come back, but I do remember still kind of vacillating between being a 4-year-old and that conscious adult angel self, and a glimmer of my 4-year-old self remembering how sad it would be for my mama to not have me. And as soon as I remembered that, I was back in my body.
Yeah. So I want to stop here and analyze, because that's what humans do. We analyze.
Mhm. Mhm.
Analyze how, as an angel, you just made the choice, I'm going to incarnate in human form. And that's kind of be my mission or my specialty, or that's just how I'm going to choose to do my work.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for all of us to recognize that there are different jobs when you're not in human form, or
Oh,
different
yes.
interests, or different places that you want to take your skills and abilities and apply them because you want to do stuff. We don't only want to do stuff when we're in human form. We want to do stuff regardless of where our
Always.
consciousness is at that time. So
Yes.
was it was it a unique decision as an angel? In other words, you got your gang, your gang of angels, and you're kind of like hanging out, and different people are doing different things, and you say, you know what,
Mhm.
I think I want to go incarnate on Earth. Was that looked at as an unusual and wild choice?
No, that's a very common choice. There are many of us here. And in fact, they asked me to come here. It's like a job. Yeah.
Okay.
And
And what
I
was
don't
it of,
think job is accurate. It's more like a vocation because I really
yeah,
love this. A job,
yeah,
a job, punch in, punch out, then live your life. No, no, I'm all in. I love it. So this is both something they asked me to do and something I wanted to do.
yeah. Now, when you say you love it, do you love the human experience, or do you love the opportunity to help an emerging collective grow and expand beyond where we've been? Or maybe
Oh,
both.
oh, it's both because both are so intertwined. I don't think I know how to separate the two. I love, okay, here's a good example. I love alcohol, love it. I love a good drink, but then I drank too much and I was an alcoholic. Okay. Many angels like me, we don't know how to find balance. We come into a human experience and we're like, yes, what is this? All right. But what it did for me is it allowed me to really enjoy this earth realm and understand how strong humans are, how strong I am, and to understand what it feels like to experience the journey of addiction, which I still, I'm not currently drinking. I've been sober for a long time, but I still identify as someone who is an addict because it's one day at a time. And as I personally experience that, because we're all connected as a consciousness, I get to share that energetically with everybody else. And therefore, when somebody else puts their sweet dog to sleep, I have some of that. They share that with me. I share my addiction journey with them energetically. When they go through something, it's shared with me energetically. So, yes, it's something for me personally, but we elevate each other. We grow as a consciousness through our personal experiences. We don't always know it, but it's still happening because we're connected. We're all the same ocean.
Yeah, and it's all in the field. It's all in
Yeah,
the
it's all
field.
in
So
the
your
field.
your experience becomes my experience and vice versa,
Mhm.
and it's magnified by billions of us on the planet.
Yes.
Okay, so you're 4 years old, you have this experience, you come back and you talk to mom and you say, by the way, this is a gig for me. I'm actually an angel. How does that
Yeah.
go over with your parents?
I didn't tell them. I didn't tell my parents because my parents came back not the same. My mom was very sick. She was bedridden for a long time. I don't have a lot of memories of my mom as a child because she slept a lot. My dad became the fun dad. So always playing games. And I didn't want to, I was conscious of that. I didn't want to disturb it. My older brother became kind of like the parent. He became very serious. So I actually didn't share it with my immediate family, but I did share it with my teachers, and I shared it with my catechism teachers, and it didn't go over well. I shared it in detail. I shared what it felt like, what they looked like. I drew the beings. I shared their messages. And even a couple times, I shared some angelic messages, some messages from Mary and from Jesus with people that were teaching me at church. And I was told that can't be right. And who are you to share that? Especially when we were talking about a Bible story that had been edited so much over the years in the different translations. And I simply, as a child, was saying, hey, that's not how it happened. Wait a minute. Can I ask a question? And maybe it was the way I was presenting it, or maybe the person in the front of the room didn't want to be questioned. I'm not really sure. But before too long, I had learned, be quiet. So I just stopped. I just stopped sharing it. And then the next element I remember was my peers. I started to share with friends that something exciting had happened to me. And some of my friends were like, yeah, that's cool. I saw that movie too. And I was like, no, not a movie. I mean, that happened to me. So I couldn't find anyone who could relate and realize that I wasn't making it up. And then when the angels told me that my gifts would amplify when I came back, they were right. I could see more angels. I could hear telepathically what animals were saying to me. I could pick up a bird that had fallen and heal it, things like that. Like the miracles of Jesus, those were coming back to me. I could do a lot of those things. I couldn't bring back the dead or anything like that, but I could do some hands-on healing and alchemy, things like that. And I remember being at school, we can jump to about fifth grade now. I remember walking through the halls and being conscious that there would be a spirit, and I would make myself not look at that spirit because it would be noticed. And so I'd say, okay, nope, later, I'll talk to you later, because I just did not want to be the weird kid. I was weird enough. My parents owned a movie theater. I was a nerd anyway. That was hard enough in a small town with both your parents being a teacher. I was a nerd. I didn't want to be more of a nerd. So I folded it in. And there were many years I didn't even remember that I was an angel, because I just chose not to. I just wanted to be a kid who played with G.I. Joes and Barbie dolls and watched the Goonies and stuff. I just became as normal as I could.
That must have been tough. I mean, to
Yeah.
completely close off a part of yourself. And, a lot of people say, oh, you're psychic or you can see spirit. That's weird. I think that's normal.
I
What
do
we
too.
do is weird.
Because everyone can see spirit, because we are made of spirit.
Mhm.
So we are conditioned to see each other with skin on. All I was doing was seeing us without skin on, and we're actually equipped to do that. We've just been telling each other for so long that we can't, or it's wrong, or it's strange, that we've made this rule or law that we can't.
Yeah.
But
And I definitely
we're
want to
coming
drill.
back to a time where we can, I think, especially our
Yeah,
kids.
especially our kids. So when did it become safe for you? When did you step into it and finally like, oh boy, this is who I am and it feels so good?
Okay. So in my near-death experience when I was 4, because I've actually had a few near-death experiences in my life. The first one when I was 4, and they told me that, when you're older, you're going to go through some hard times. I didn't really know the purpose of that. They just told me it was going to happen. But when it began to happen, what that was doing was, it wasn't just helping me understand the human condition. That's how they marketed it to me in the beginning. But what I didn't expect was my gifts that had been folded into me, they were going to unfold or crack open. So for example, I married a lovely man right out of college, wonderful person. And we were too young to get married. And that seems like a very common story, but when you go through that, it wrecks your heart. And going through that and realizing how much I was hurting someone by lying, and I was just not being authentic, and having to grow up and do the right thing. And growing through all of that hurt, things like that, that trauma that I was enduring and causing someone cracked open some of my gifts. And then later on, losing a pregnancy, my first pregnancy, that cracked me open. The purpose of those traumas brought my gifts back. I started to remember. And it first came by seeing my angels, because I was thinking, oh my gosh, this is so hard. How am I going to get through this? I had flashbacks of no one victim. No one can relate to me. I have the worst time. I have the worst luck. When it rains, it pours. And my angels showed up and they said, hey, remember us? What are you going to do about this? What do you want to do with your life? And I thought, okay, I'm either having a mental breakdown. So I got everything checked out, started my therapy journey, went to see a neurologist, and I learned how to meditate. Kept hearing everybody say, do you meditate? I was like, do not say that to me one more time. I'm a busy bee. I have a monkey mind. Do not say it to me. But I learned how to do it. And I connected with my breath. And through going still and listening to my breath without judgment, using music sometimes, I began to talk to my angels, and it all came back. It came back gently. And I began to welcome my gifts. And one day I said, okay, God, if this is you, let's just do it, because I have a feeling it's going to happen no matter what. So let's go. And I'm telling you, my friends, that when I said that, I happened to be in my classroom. I was a school teacher at that time. And my classroom shifted like the universe went clink. And I went to church at that time, but I wasn't spiritual. I was religious. Big difference, right? That was a spiritual experience. Something happened in the matrix, blink, and everything changed after. Like colors were different. I listened different. My ears began to ring, and gently but fast, my gifts started to come back. Soon after that, my husband and my children and we moved from our small town. We went to a bigger city where I didn't have to hold my gifts in. I could just be me. And that made all the difference, because I was teaching in the town where I grew up, and that wasn't helping. I thought, well, I really can't walk around and say, hey, you know me as Dan's daughter and Diana's daughter, and I'm the school teacher, and I walk around being as normal as can be. And also I'm a psychic, and I talk to angels, and can you still pay my salary? I couldn't do that. So I said, God, show me where to go. And he did. She, source laid it out for me, and we haven't looked back. And that was 14 years ago.
Wow. What an exciting journey. I bet it feels so good to be back in your skin.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Really does.
Yeah. And when you were talking about kind of when you had that little breakdown or that frustrating period, it was like nothing works out for me. Life is hard. Da, da, da. I was thinking, oh my gosh, that is the human programming.
Yes.
That is the script you're handed at birth. It's like,
Yes.
okay, go be a human. And
Yep.
it's ingrained in us instead of our true nature, our true gifts, our true
Yes.
spirit, our true potential, which makes me nuts because we are following a path that is in complete opposition to who we really are.
Our divinity, which is to
Our
go,
divinity.
be, fly, create.
Right. So with that, let's kind of work into what is going on the planet right now. Because in my mind, and I'd love to hear what's going on in your mind about this, what I'm seeing right now is, of course, lots of drama. This is a dramatic planet on a good day, and it's lots of drama right now. And very, very, I mean, the volume, it just seems so noisy to me right now. Oh my gosh, turn down the volume. I'm seeing the final, or what I perceive to be kind of the final battle between that human script programming that we're handed when we come out of the birth canal and the truth of who we are, which is so very different. It is unlimited potential and enormous ability to perceive. And yet we have decided that we're going to play on this little script, but I it feels like this is the time where we're shifting that. How do you see it? And if the angels want to come in and give their 2 cents, I've got a ton of questions too.
I think I will let them answer that if that's okay. I mean,
Why
I
not?
have my ideas, but I really like to hear what
Well,
they have to say.
let's hear yours first, and then let's bring the angels
Okay.
in. Yeah.
Okay. From what I am gathering, okay, and I would like to also say that one of the gifts I brought back was I have access to all my other lifetimes, including my parallels. So I can go back into my other 7 Earth experiences and see what the consciousness was like then. And we were like babies. We were gentler, we were nicer to each other. We didn't have as much going on. And it seems like that was easier, but it's almost like we hunted each other. And now it's actually easier for us. I noticed when I was there before, it's like we would get to each other. We would kind of, I want to say it again, we would hunt each other. I'll get there first. And it may seem like we're doing that now, but actually not. It's easier if we go quicker to the let me empower you. And
Okay.
what we see on the surface as being negative is just like the crackle on top of the pie. What's underneath is so good and nourishing. That's what counts. And we've been building that good nourishing part. One of my personal angels wants to say, tell them it is like a vegetable meat pie, something very nourishing. It's substantial, and that the people of Earth have been creating this for eons, and it counts. It's finally time to eat the pie.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. So we've been talking about this age of enlightenment, awakening for so long. And we've been talking about it in circles for so long. And that was a plan. It's not that it's fallen through. It's been part of the plan to talk about it ad nauseum, because as we talked about it, it was resonating out to the corners of everywhere, into the little cracks and corners, because we don't want anyone to be left behind. Some will be because they are not ready. They're choosing not to, but it's all free will choice. But everyone, every being, every blade of grass will hear about this opportunity to jump on a more loving timeline. The timeline is open. The timeline has been open for a while now. And even when I sit and talk to you, Kim, there's times that I see you glimmer into the 5D. And so I know that you can access the fifth dimension easily, sometimes maybe even into the crystalline sixth dimension. And this is what all of that talking has been about, and figuring it out. And as humans, we perceive the moving 2 steps forward, 5 steps back. We perceive it as failure, or we tried and failed. No, no, no. It's part of the process.
You know what I saw visually when you were saying we've been talking about it ad nauseum, the Ascension. I saw this great weaving on a wall and how you pull it through, and every thread, this tiny, but all those threads together build up this huge finished product. That's what I saw. It's like every time we talked about it was laying the foundation, was laying another thread in that beautiful tapestry.
Yes. Every time we speak of something, whether we think it's negative or not, there's nothing negative that happens. It all counts. It's all energy that is useful. And even if someone does something really negative, or we perceive it as negative, there is a healer or a helper that transmutes it into something useful. And the angels want me to do this as if I'm threading your tapestry. And
Yeah.
that's where we are. If I go back
Mhm.
into my initial lifetime here, that might have been the same, but it was slow. Everything was slow.
I I've listened to some other videos. I've been stalking you online. And one of the things that you said is it's not going to be a jolt. It's going to be a smooth transition. And I thought that's so beautiful, because that's, in my mind, that is a more effective way to implement change.
Yeah.
And I even see it in myself. in that I find that I'm not frustrated with what's going on. I'm bored with it. It's like, can we do something a little more interesting with our energy?
Then you know you're ready.
Can we do something like creative and innovative
Yes.
and use that energy in a way that is going to expand us in an exciting way? That's what it's like, I'm just kind of, I don't want to do that stuff anymore. And it's when you're not even emotionally connected, that's when I feel like, okay, we're ready to step in to something
That's
new.
exactly right. You go to a space of this divine neutrality,
Mm-hmm.
then you're
Yeah.
ready to play.
And I'll choose that over there. That's what I'll choose.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's bring the angels in, and I'm going to ask a few questions about the human experience.
I can see one coming in my window. I don't know if you can see all that light back there. Some of it's the sun, but
Mm-hmm.
if you can look at my white jam of my window starting to
Mm-hmm.
come in toward my shelf. Anyway, yes, I'm ready.
I have heard repeatedly that Earth is this grand experiment, that we have genetic material from lots of different races. And this type of thing, I have not heard that it's been done before, what we have going on here on Earth. I also noticed that there's a whole lot of attention from other collectives about what's going on Earth. Can you kind of talk about, from your perspective, what you see is happening on the planet and what you kind of perceive we're doing right now?
Okay, yes, I was just at a meeting and with the Galactic Council, and you're right. This is one of the. This has been it's a long experiment. It's been happening for a long time. If you want to think in time as linear, which is not really accurate, but it feels good to the brain. We could say this is. They want to say, I just need to say something to them. I'm wondering if guys, could this channeling be through? I don't want to use my words. Could you direct channel through me? Could we do that? Go through my frontal lobe? I think that would be nicer for the audience if they could see that. They've heard my voice a lot already. And who would like to speak? This is Metatron. Oh, this is going to be fun. And then there's someone else coming in from the Galactic Council. Oh, to speak with a council who call themselves Sarai. And they feel female, and they are extraterrestrials who have been with me since I was a child. And they were at the meeting the other day, and some Andromedans, all right, here we go. So Metatron is going to speak first, and then we'll have Sarai come in, and then you'll get to hear the difference between what an angel sounds like and their demeanor and what some extraterrestrials kind of sound like. This will be fun. Okay. Metatron just said, "Did you wear enough deodorant? I always make you sweat."
He really realizes what it's like being human here.
Thanks. Thanks, Metatron. Thanks. And then for Rachel, could you pose the question again for me?
Yes. And what I've heard is that Earth is a grand experiment. This is an unusual environment where there's genetic material from lots of different races. Is that your perception? And also, I would like for you to talk about, we're getting so much attention here on Earth from off-planet collectives right now. Why is Earth so interesting for the rest of the universe?
That's amusing. I don't find Earth interesting at all. I'm glad you do. I hope you're enjoying your life. I'm
Well,
quite ready for it to keep moving. I've been looking at Earth being quite the same for a long time. I find it quite amusing when Rachel goes back to her 7 lifetimes and she likes to think they're different. I do not agree. I think they're the same, same, same. Now, do I love Earth? Yes, yes, unconditionally. Is it a bit boring? Yes. This is Metatron. I'm Metatron. And I am kin with Rachel, family with Rachel. Like Rachel, I have enjoyed human experiences as well. And I come to advise because I am one of the guides, angels, and I actually have a hyphenated title in. I have a hyphenated title when we're talking about the great experiment or the grand experiment, the angelic realm, we'll call it, because there are some of us that will advise who have been angel only and sometimes angel human. And I am one of those. Rachel talks to me often when she is needing guidance or help, or we are working on sending beings who have taken the wrong door, as Rachel says, and have found themselves in the earth dimension. I will often help send them home. To answer your question, this earth is a grand experiment that is right on track, and we are quite proud. And we cannot give any credit to those of us on this side of the track. It's all you. It's all you, because you have such creative and kind hearts. And I wish to remind you all listening that when you ponder what is the use of war, what is the use of abuse, death, jealousy, well, you have all chosen to create an earth dimension to come here and learn through those experiences. And though in this experience, while you are living them, those experiences are registering as negative, and that is what you've chosen to experience, is the negative. What your soul learns through those types of low vibrational frequency experiences is expansion. You expand as a soul. If you only had one type of experience, your soul would be one dimensional, and you would find yourself wanting to come back and back and back. And I know all of you who are listening to this program right now. Yes, I know every one of you, and you are near and dear to my heart. In fact, all of the angelic realm listening, source, all of the galactic beings who are listening, we know you intimately and we love you unconditionally. Each and every one of you, every time you incarnate on a different planet or the Earth planet, we are with you every moment. We are not limited to time and space. And the times that you incarnate onto a planet that does not have anything low vibrational frequency, we love to see you in collaboration, living your life that is full of positivity. But your growth on those planets is next to nil. And so when you want to really grow, you come to Earth. And so this grand experiment that you speak of, it is right on track and you're growing immensely. At some point, you will not need this dimension anymore. And so we're starting to see, with the aid of the Galactic Councils, plural, and those of you who have chosen a mission here on Earth to be the light bringers, and those of you who are starting to realize that you are hybrid, you have a human cellular system, and yet your origin is from another place. And if you even wonder if that's you, then love, it is you. You are from another place, so own it and be brave. You are here to escort Earth, Mother Earth, and Mama Papa Source, as we like to say on the other side. You are here to escort Earth into its next form, Earth in its next source, Earth in its next form, helping Rachel to channel out for a moment. Earth in its next form will be much like the other planets that are higher vibrational frequency. We will not need Earth to play its part as a lower frequency. And so we're looking at being in the 1,000 years of peace. We have started that already. And so to explain what that looks like, I will bring in Sarai. And first, Kimberly, do you have any questions for me, Archangel Metatron?
You know, I have one question. I was talking with a girlfriend the other day, we're a very spiritual friend, and we were explaining to each other how much we love being physical. We love the physicalness of the earth, and the earth itself is so gorgeous. And interacting with the earth and being outside and doing things with nature is so rewarding. Is there a potential that we can ascend to a higher vibrational place while still in form?
I love that question. Thank you for asking it. I relate to that question because I love Earth so much. I wish to tell you that when I have asked this question on the behalf of many people on Earth wondering this, when they go into their crystalline form and their light bodies, they are already grieving when they think about missing the beach and the mountains and the feeling of wind on their physical body. The response that I have received from the upper councils is that when you get to this place of crystalline form and no body, you will not miss it, because you will be at one with the oceans and the wind and the mountains. It will be a different experience, but as we hear Rachel say, you will be up-leveled. You will be at one with all things that you love.
So what you're saying is that the level of satisfaction will be what we experience, or maybe even greater. In other words, that
Greater.
interaction of the energies is going to be satisfying.
I wish to say to you, there are no words that I could possibly say to explain the amount of ecstasy and satisfaction that you will have when you go into your full crystalline body, your full light body. Think of the best moment of your life and multiply that by infinity. That is where Earth is moving.
All right. I have a question about what's happening on the planet right now. So we're going to get a little into the grid, or into the the meat suit, the physicality of Earth.
Yes.
And what I said to Rachel is that it just seems like it's getting, the crescendo of drama is, really high right now. And it seems very noisy to me, and everyone's on edge, and there's just a lot of stuff going on. How are we going to get through this in a way that enriches us? And why are we having what I perceive to be such a hard time finding a path with which we can move forward together that is expansive for all of humanity?
You are, as a united force, as humanity, you are already moving forward. There is no way that you can move back or be stationary. You are already moving forward. And there is evidence of this because those of you who are choosing the path of love, awakening, enlightenment, you desire more. And even having the desire of wanting more proves to you that you are united. There are enough of you in the earth dimension that desire more, that this is the thing. This is the united prayer, the united force that is moving the enlightenment forward, if you will. Now, as you collectively move the enlightenment forward, and Rachel speaking, I noticed that as Metatron has his two hands this way, there is a great force. And when I look into it, I can see actual souls in it. And these are the souls of everyone moving into the 5D. And then he wants me to see that there are other souls here that are not included. And he says, he comes back in and he says, thank you, Rachel, the channel. These people that are not moving forward, this is their free will choice and they play their part. You will notice in the next today and in the next 5 years, today through the next 5 years, these people will pass, they will perish, and they will perish in ways that they have already decided. They have decided how they will pass before they were born, as we all do. We all choose how we're going to pass. And it is possible that how these people pass will be moved up, their timeline will be moved up, but they have chosen not to be part of this evolution. Will they enjoy it? Yes, because they will be on the other side, looking in on us, moving into this evolution, and they will be able to promote our evolution from the other side, per se, he says. Yes, I know, no other side, but per se, the other side. And so they will still help us evolve, but where they are in this state, in their human form, they cannot comprehend. And so their higher selves are helping them boost out of their body and cross over. And we may see this great exodus of people crossing over through war, through cancer, through illness, various ways, and through old age. And then we'll see an uptick of population as well, because these are the indigo and crystal children who are coming in to recreate the rules of living. And so as we see a downfall of government, the way churches are run, the way schools, the education system is run, the monetary system, that may look scary to some, but I am telling you that these children that are in contract to be born, they are coming in to rewrite things to help with the evolution. And Metatron shows me that he's got the world, and he shows me the energy of God circulating the world as if it's turning on its head. And Archangel Azrael comes in to say, oh yes, we must bust down the cabinets before we can recreate new ones. And when I put in new cabinets, it'll be all new spices, new dishes. And these new children are going to come in. Oh, he's got a big bass voice. I just can't do it. These children will come in, and they will be the ones that will not only put in the new dishes, but they'll paint the new dishes, and they'll have new spices that you've never tried.
Now, how are these kids different than the humans that are on Earth now? And are they wired differently, or are their genetics different? Do they come in with a higher vibration, with a greater understanding? How are they going to be? How are they different?
This is the Galactic Council, who calls themselves Sarai. We are the keepers of the indigo and crystal children. You have noticed already that the children who are incarnating, and we must go back 2 decades, they have already been coming in to assist. These children think differently. Their hands are equipped to heal with light. They question every rule. They question authority. They cannot stomach injustice. They need their caregivers to advocate for them until they're old enough to be seen as adults themselves. They are often diagnosed with labels that sometimes can help them, such as ADHD, ADD, autism. They are often on the spectrum because their brains are different. We are actively supporting these children so that their labels and the way their brains work do not hinder them, but help them create the new world. We are also helping their caregivers and their teachers expand their knowledge and their hearts so that these children are given educational opportunities that match them and they're not held back. These are genius children. They learn differently than the way their parents learned. This is the new way. They are psychic, they are telepathic, they are intuitive. They are the ones that will teach us the trade bartering system. They are the ones that will teach us to lead with love. And they are the ones that will put their foot down and possibly sit down in the middle of the floor and have sit-in protests, but they will not protest with violence. The violence will be ended with our children.
What about ET visitation onto Earth? Are we going to be meeting the neighbors soon?
It is already happening. They are among us. We are among you. This is Sarai speaking. We are among you. We are coming in many forms. We come in the shape of praying mantis, birds. We are the watchers in that form. And we are also coming in as Rachel comes in. For example, she is angelic, yes, but we're also coming in contracted through humans. So some we are born into, they come through a man and woman, and they grow up and they do not know they are star seed, but they remember as they are older. And sometimes we are walk-in. So they are fully grown human and their spirit crosses, but their body is whole. And so we walk right into that human and we take over. And sometimes we just up here and we do our work and we are just here. And we are able to come in equipped with social security number, full identity, and we can do our work and just blend into society. The government knows about us. We work in tandem with them. We are here to help. We are not all good. I will say this. We are not all good, just as not all people are here for the right reasons, or I am being reprimanded. Some are here for nefarious reasons, and that all plays a part in the great play, the great experience. And so I am not allowed to place any of my personal opinion on it, even though I have one. Period. And it is all for the greatest good. That is all I'm allowed to say. But,
okay.
Yes.
It is my understanding that there's been a little bit of a battle over Earth. In other words,
Yes.
there have been some collectives that would maybe want to take over humanity.
Yes,
in
we
some
have
way.
resources.
Okay.
This is Rachel speaking. We have resources.
Yeah. So Here's my concern. So if it's true, and I believe it is, that there's been a takeover plan on Earth, then that would kind of lay us open to other collectives deciding that this planet with all these souls and all this DNA and all this energy is
Mhm.
ripe for the taking. And
Yeah.
one thing I can say about humanity, and I love it's like I love the whole thing. It is challenging.
Mhm.
Humans can be manipulated. We can be very gullible.
Yep.
And I'm concerned that how do we, because we're not as connected with our intuitive senses as we could be, I'm concerned that I'm concerned about us making the right decision about the direction we go in, because I feel like we're going to be influenced by a lot of different collectives who maybe not necessarily have a nefarious agenda, but an agenda that's going to serve them much more than it's going to serve the advancement of this collective. What do you think about that?
It's a reasonable concern, but I will tell you that a lot of the AI that's happening has extraterrestrial influence, and that's really going to help us. I don't have a lot of information about that, but there's some relation to it. And also, our government is going to fall soon. And that sounds scary, but it's got to happen. And that is in correlation. I don't know if that's the right word. I don't know if it's in correlation, but it must be. The timing when the government falls and we get to rebuild as a people, we will also, I'm not channeling, but this is what I've been shown in my meditations. When the government falls and we are in a rebuilding process, we're going to be designing a different type of government where we can finally find peace. And that's when we're going to see extraterrestrial helpers. And with the help of the media, creating more movies that don't create extraterrestrials as predators, but helpers. And we'll see more of that soon. They're going to be here to help us. And they're actually going to be tapping us on our third eye to give us clearer intention. They're bringing back our gifts so that when we have visitors come to Earth, we're not going to be relying on, oh, well, my gut, just my gut. We're actually going to be going back to our very beginning lifetimes where our intuition was clean. We knew we didn't have to go to pendulums are great, but we don't have to go to outside sources. All we have to do is we could either talk to source, hey, God, tell me. And we get that answer just like that because we're not separate from source. So even so we're not separate, even though we're not separate from source, we've been taught that we're separate from God for so long that when we tap into God and ask for questions, it's like, God, did you answer? I didn't get it. Okay, if that was you, show me a cardinal. If that was you, show me a seven.
Yeah.
We do this funny stuff. The extraterrestrials are going to give it back to us that we don't have to do that anymore. We hear directly from God and our own intuition is back. So when we get the help, we're going to know it's valid. And then before that happens, they show me that we have this, I want to call it a loving army, but they don't have weapons. They can protect us, but they protect us with like an energy shield. They're going to be here before all that happens. Sounds like a sci-fi movie, doesn't it?
You know what? It does, but that's reality. What we've been taught is not reality. What I believe, I don't know what you think about this, Rachel, but the fact that we're so disconnected from our gifts, which is our true is our who we truly are, is part of that whole takeover agenda.
Yeah.
Shut humans down so that they
Yes.
have so few abilities to discern. And I
Right.
feel, it's like look at the environment we're living in right now here on planet Earth. It's
Mhm.
swimming in lies. It's like
Yes.
lies upon lies upon lies. And when you're in an environment where it's all telepathic, there is no lying because
Right.
it's transparent. So this
And
is
as
the
soon as we get something telepathic, then they, and I don't always know who they is, so that's a little frustrating to me, but the powers that be, whoever that be, feels like still don't know, always know. Government maybe. But then we get fluoride in our toothpaste, or we have something in the water that we can't identify. And I personally, it hurts my third eye. I have to work really hard to open that baby back up so I can channel.
Yeah. So I think that that's been the whole part of it. So all the stuff that people thinks that a lot of people may perceive as being woo-woo and weird is actually our true nature. And
Yes.
what's weird is the fact that we don't have the access to those skills right now, or some
Right.
people do not. But I can say, and this is a question for you, particularly in your work. I know for me, with the energies changing on the planet, and it's almost thinner, it just feels more silvery, or it's just different. My telepathy is so much more acute. My sense of my spidey sense, I call it, that little gut feeling is so right on. I'm 100% right now with that. So I would imagine that someone that does what you do, you have really noticed an expansion of not only your gifts, but the information that you're getting and the clarity. Is that what you're experiencing?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. I value that our privacy, I want to say our privacy laws, our spiritual privacy laws are still in check. I love that. I love that as when I'm serving as a psychic, I love that I only have access to information that I'm allowed to have access to. What is my business is what I'm supposed to see is all I am supposed to see. I love that. So, I can't peer into somebody's closet or something. I can't see into their bank account, and I can't see if somebody's having an affair. I value that. I don't think we'll get to a point where we can see everything, because we're not supposed to, because we're in a contract with each other that is loving. And that feels really good. But yes, I'm with you where we're getting to a point where our ability to communicate telepathically, because we have this agreement with each other that if I want you to know something, if I want to communicate with you without words, and we have that agreement, we can. That feels wonderful. And then with our beings on earth that already understand unconditional love, like our pets or the birds, wow, that's really coming back, isn't it? Because that agreement never left. We just forgot we could do it. And with
Yeah.
the trees, the grass, the wind, that's all coming back. It's fascinating.
It is fascinating. It's fun. It's fun to watch.
And money's starting to talk to us more. We get the chance to talk to money. Money has energy. And so as we begin to recalculate that energy that comes with abundance, we can now pick up our pay stub or pick up a $20 bill or $100 bill and say, you know what? I love you. I don't know who held you before, but I'm glad you're in my hands. And what do you need from me? Do you need to just sit in my pocket for a while? I appreciate you. And hey, your $20 bill, could you amplify into $100? That would be great. And you know what? It will, because everything has energy. Such a
Yeah.
beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. And as much as Earth right now can be challenging, it's an exciting time to be
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And
I love
when
it.
when we cycle out of here, Rachel, we can look at each other and go, "That was fun. Wasn't that fun?"
Yeah. Yeah, we can. And it'll feel like it was just yesterday.
Yeah, yeah. And remember when that happened? And remember when that
Yeah.
happened? All those things that seem so, I don't know. Definitely when you're here incarnated, it seems really real.
Yeah, especially, when I suffer from depression or something, then it's like, okay, yesterday was great.
What
What's
happened?
going on today?
Yeah.
I thought there was this angel thing was supposed to be great. What
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah. I think that, the fact that you have decided to do the human thing, I think that feels pretty brave to me, because
I love it.
you could be in an absolute divine, energy all the time,
Most of the time I find myself that way. I feel that I've learned how to create my own timeline, and to see my other timelines where, maybe there's a timeline where I live in a mansion and I have all of these people taking care of me. And that's pretty cool to see. And when I need that, I breathe it in. And then what I find in the next 20 minutes is maybe a client will bring me a cup of coffee. I can collapse those times. We all can. We can collapse those timelines. That's exciting stuff. And what's curious about that is I couldn't do that in the first or second lifetime. And it wasn't because of my ability. We just didn't have those other lifetimes as close to us. They weren't resonating, but they are now. And I just breathe that in. I always tell people, breathe it in like fresh baking bread. There's something that you want, just keep it simple. Just breathe it in.
Yeah.
And it'll show up.
Imagine the exciting challenge of being in non-physical and saying, I'm going to go down to earth, and knowing that you're going to come in and not have access to all those skills, and you have to find your way back. I mean, that's a pretty exciting journey.
Or scary.
Depending on the day.
Yeah. And on the day.
And how much energy
it has
you
been
have.
Great.
And who's brought you coffee lately?
Right. You listening, everybody?
I know. This has been so much fun. I have had such a good time. And thank you for bringing in Metatron and the angels. That was wonderful.
You're so welcome. Thank you for sharing your time with me. I feel so grateful.
This was just wonderful. So how do we find out more about you? Because I know everybody's going to want to.
Okay. Well, it would bring me great joy to give some of your listeners a session. So people can book a session with me by going to my website. It's Rachel Corpus. My last name is spelled like Corpus Christi, Corpus. That's my real name, rachelcorpus.com. And I give sessions in person if they're in the Des Moines area, mostly on Zoom because I see people all over the world. And, I teach classes usually during the fall on Zoom. I'm always up to something. My website. And oh gosh, I have this podcast called Angel Talk where I explain what it's like to be an angel, or I have guests on. That's on all the platforms. That's Angel Talk. So thanks for asking that.
And we will have all of that listed in the description box down below. Easy to find. I hope you'll come back and see us.
Love to. Just let me know. I'll be right there.
Thank you so much again. And thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye now. I hope you enjoyed this video. Coming up next, this is a good one. Or you might really like this one too. Either one of them could be perfect for you. Before you leave, don't forget to subscribe.